What's going on, family? My name is Courtney Antipus and welcome to Own Your Own. This is a video series that I am doing, basically telling all the stories that I have from previous events and tours and things that have happened along my musical journey over the past 10 or so years, in the hope that it helps some aspiring artists out there, but also to tell the stories that we have, because it can go on as if nothing happened. And when it comes to CHH and CHH in Africa, to be honest with you, Southern Africa has played an important role. I'm gonna just share my stories, put it out there, and let everyone else decide for themselves. So this is Own Your Own, first episode. Let's go, and we're gonna talk about how it all began for me, that is. Let's go. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the year 2011. For those of you that know and were around those days, you'd know that I was not doing CHH. I had a CHH background in that I used to do it in youth and I did have faith. But I had my own issues and things that I was battling, and I thought it was cool, let me go out there and do my thing, because I felt like the church wasn't actually paying too much attention. If you want to know more about that, of course, I'll put a link up there. You can watch my story, the documentary that we put out at the time. Anyway, fast forward now, it's October of that year. I had heard about the 116 tour that was coming to Africa, and they had a Zimbabwe leg and a Harare show. And a friend of mine who was a youth pastor at a church in Harare had told me, look, these guys are coming through. Would you consider coming, just, checking it out and seeing? And he knew me from my previous days when I was doing CHH. So I was like, nah, I'm not really interested, because the line of music that I was doing and the lane that I was going was totally different from this particular lane. And then we are in October now of that 2011, and my grandmother, who was battling cancer, sadly passed away the first week of October. I do remember distinctly that while we were at the funeral, and just how many people came and the impact that she had, and she lived a simple life and stuff. That was one of the things, it was more like the nail in the coffin for me, that God used to say, dude, what are you doing going out there to look for approval and this and that and that? Just, you will find it with me. You'll find it in me. So I totally left. It was like almost like a turn, like a 180 just in one day. I'm excited about this new freedom that I have, not to live up to expectations that are beyond my control, and just press into my faith again, not to feel awkward about it, but really enjoy being a believer and being part of this family. I do remember letting people know that, look, I'm done with that lifestyle. And then Gerald, this pastor, he hit me up. He was like, yo, so you're back. It's nice to know that you're back. He's like, okay, would you consider coming? There's a pre-show that these guys are having, just to see the talent here in Zim and what's going on. And I kind of felt a bit weird about it, because it kind of feels like, okay, so you coming back and you're switching up simply because 116 guys are coming through. And so I do remember telling him, look, I don't want to be part of the show, but I can come through and help and be in the background and do some stuff if that's what you want. And he was like, yeah, it's cool, you can come through, but just come and do the pre-show, come and meet the guys who are bringing them, and then we'll just see, let's have fun, you know what I mean? You can do some of your old tracks and all that. So I was like, okay, cool. And I was writing at the time, and I had some stuff written down, so I had some music. Fast forward now to the event. These guys are here, not the 116 guys, the guys who were bringing him. And who does this person happen to be? Mr. Harold Moyo and his whole crew. And I remember meeting these guys, and I met Harry, and Gerald was like, this guy can rap, and Harry had this whole like, okay, cool. And please note, I had just switched up. So for me, there was still a lot inside of me, like pride and stuff that I was dealing with, and that would come out because I was so used to, you need to be confident and you need to have that kind of pride if you're doing stuff out there, because no one is gonna pick you up. So I said, don't worry, you might not know me right now, but you will know me eventually. So wrong to say that, but anyway, gave them my stuff, gave them my music, and I went on stage. I rapped, I did what I had to do for the show, and Eventually Gerald was like, nah, you know what? You need to actually be on it. And then we're like, nah, you need to be on it. And that's how we got on the 116 show. That happened, dudes came through, we had a good night. Harry and I just kept in comms, kept talking back and forth and stuff like that there. And then the next year came, okay, and he was doing the show in Johannesburg in March, well, in South Africa, another tour, the Lions and Liars tour, where he was bringing Show Baraka. I was like, hey dude, you know what, I'd love to come through. Just dropped it there, and he was like, why don't you come through, come to the show, like if you can get yourself here. I was like, okay, where am I gonna stay? He's like, dude, we boys, man, you can grab a couch, you can chill somewhere. So I got my money, I bought a bus ticket, and boom, I shot down to South Africa. Was with H&M, met some amazing people who to this day I have a relationship with. Did a show first in Johannesburg at the Factory, which is a dope youth group out there. The show was packed, and you know, the dope thing was like after a show you can hear somebody bumping your music from their car and stuff. So that was amazing. And then we went up to Polokwane. We did the Polokwane leg. After Polokwane, came back. I think those dudes continued on to Cape Town or wherever they went. I wasn't part of that leg or whatever. H bought me a pair of shoes, and then he hands me a contract. It's like, I like what you're doing, let's build together. I was so excited. I was like, let me take it, looked at it, it's like, nah, cool, let's make it happen. That's pretty much how it started for me. That's pretty much how it happened. So I'd say the lesson that I've learned and want others to know from this whole story is that it's not on anybody else but you to go out and go for what you want. If you're gonna wait for somebody to come along who's gonna be so wowed by your talent and they're just going to want to make you a superstar, it's never gonna happen. That is something that, it's a fairy tale. That is something that I guess media sells us, but it's not the truth. Everybody has had to put into it to get to where they are. So that's how it all started, and that's how it came about. And it's not like after that everything was just smooth sailing and rosy. No, things got real behind the scenes. In fact, the next show that we were a part of was so chaotic. If it wasn't for one of my homies that saved it, everything was gonna go up in flames. We're gonna talk about that in the next video. Okay, I'll see you then. If you like this, do like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell to get updates. I will see you in the next one. See you then.